Alright, hello everybody. For today's lesson we're going to be going over the PTS Section C task, regulations and publications related to IFR operations. So there's going to be a lot to be covered. I'm mainly just going to mention what to look out for and where you can find most of this information, because IFR is very in-depth and there's a lot of things that you can get into. But giving these references and letting people or showing people where they can find the information they need to find for IFR is going to help them a lot. So starting off, 14 CFR, just the different parts: 61, 71, 91, 95, and 97. Starting off, 61 is going to be your certification for pilots, flight instructors, ground instructors, and mainly aircraft ratings. So for that, 6165 goes over the instrument rating requirements, just the general stuff they need: private pilot certificate, read, speak, understand English, all the knowledge, all the aeronautical knowledge, flight proficiency for the instrument airplane and instrument helicopter. But this is where you're going to find most of the information for just what you need to know to be an IFR pilot. Following that, 71, designation of airspaces, Class A, B, C, D, E, air traffic service routes and reporting route points. This is going to be just a lot of general information, but it's always good to have this understanding of airspace, especially when you get into IFR and how things can change between the different airspaces. Things like reporting points, how controlled airspaces works, how entering uncontrolled airspace works, when you're in an IFR flight plan or when you're flying IFR, and other information like that. 91, flight rules. There's a lot that covers these. Part 91 that can get into IFR. Mainly, I think, 91-205 I have, so that's going to be your IFR required instruments and equipment. Always important to have that. And again, 91 can go over a lot of stuff, so things like once you get into higher level aviation, supplemental oxygen, which I believe is on the next section, but 211, I'm pretty sure. Apologies. 91-211 for supplemental oxygen. My bad. And other information like that where you have flight rules, obviously. So when you're in IFR, these rules are important to have, these changes. And we'll get into some other rules as we go along. But yeah, 91-205, that's going to be your equipment. 95 covers IFR altitudes, so your general mountainous areas and how that can change, your en route altitudes and your changeover points. Prescribes you Federal Airways, jet routes, area navigation routes, or other direct routes where MEA is designed. Other than that, between the navigation facilities or waypoints for straight route segments. So information on when you change these altitudes, which for IFR cruising and IFR en route is going to be very critical. Part 97, standard instrument procedures, is going to tell you a lot of the legalities regarding your standard instrument procedures, but as we go along, we'll go over en route, all the different charting and all the information with that. So, regulations. Following this is going to be the Instrument Flying Handbook. Very critical. It's going to tell you a lot of information regarding airspace, air traffic control, just everything from the physical, how our bodies react, to the legalities and all the different charting stuff, aeronautical factors, just how airplanes work in IFR and how we work in IFR. So this goes a lot in depth. When you want to go over procedure-wise specifically, it's not listed on here, but I like talking about the Instrument Procedures Handbook. I'm pretty sure this is what it's called. Double check for you guys. Instrument Procedures Handbook. There we go. So that's going to cover a lot of good information too regarding just specifically how these procedures work, what to look out for, what to understand for arrivals, for departures, for en route, for approaches, anything like that. Following this, the AIM, Aeronautical Information Manual, covers a lot of stuff. Section 1 was great for me when I was writing notes for instrument because it tells you all about navigational aids, all the information regarding VORs, NDVs, different checks for the VORs. I think it covers GPS specifically too. service altitudes, very important. I got asked that when I was taking my instrument, so that's always nice to have. ILS, localizer. And again, a lot of this information. I want to see if I can find it here for you guys. Here we go. GPS. Here we go, global positioning system. Apologies. But yeah, GPS and just how that changes from VOR to GPS, from precision to non-precision, all that information. Use of GPS, because that's a somewhat modern tool for the FAA. But it's all information that is very important to have when you're going over your check ride. Alright, let me scoot this over. Apologies. Following this, we have section 1-2-1, PBN and area navigation, mainly RNAV, and how RNAV affects our flight, both en route and when shooting approaches. So we can see how that changes. And again, very important information. It goes very in depth with IFR, and IFR is, the way I like to say it is, private pilot is teaching you how to fly, IFR is teaching you how to listen and learn the rules, because with IFR you have so much specific information. Like, for example, GPS and WAS, TSO C129196, that's telling you what allows you to keep WAS and RAIM, and what makes your airplane legal to use those and stuff like that, that you can get asked on a check ride. Oh, our airplane has WAS with the Cessna 172s have RAIM and WAS. Oh, how do you know that? And how is it specifically stated that it has WAS? And then, if you don't have information like this, you can get screwed over, to say the least. Scooting over. Sorry, I have my stuff right there for the recording. But following this is 3-1-1, general information for airspace and how weather minimums, what tells us whether or not we're in IFR, whether or not we have to file, whether or not we have to pick up a pop-up IFR clearance as we're flying. So that's more information that's in the AIM that we need to know. AIM 3-2 talks about airspace and how controlled airspace works, which is, again, important for IFR, important for all types of flights, how charts work. And yeah. So following this, Chapter 5 of the AIM, Air Traffic Procedures, you're going to be talking to air traffic a lot during IFR. They're going to be telling you what to do, how to do it, where you're going, what they allow you to do, what's filed, what's published, etc. And I'm sorry that I'm kind of briefing over everything, but again, it's a lot of information to go over. I think all of these I could sit down and just talk about all the specifics, everything that you could get asked, all the different legalities behind everything, but just knowing where to find everything is important. I'll admit, when I took my IFR check ride, I didn't know everything. It's very difficult to be able to completely understand everything and memorize all the numbers, memorize exactly what reg, what this, what that. But being able to find this information and know what a FAA published source or FAA approved source is saying regarding whatever you're talking about is always going to help you during a check ride. So yeah, Chapter 5, Air Traffic. With this Chapter 641 from Chapter 6, sorry. One important thing I found is two-way radio communications, and for IFR, that's going to give you your AVF and your MEA. AVF and MEA being your lost comms procedure for when you're flying IFR en route and how you're going to fly that. So in the AIM, it tells you all the information regarding that, and even if you're on IFR procedure, or sorry, IFR flight plan, if you're in VFR, you land VFR. So things like that you have to understand. Now, following this, the PTS, obviously, they list the PTS, and for us, it's a great tool. For instrument students, I feel like it could be a lot. The ACS for them would definitely be better, but listed here is the practical test standards, which makes sense. I mean, knowing what you're going to get tested on and what you can get tested on is crucial. But again, we have the PTS, we have the ACS for our instrument students. It's going to be helpful for them to be something they're comfortable with the ACS than looking super far into CFII and trying to use the PTS. If students are advanced and they do truly want to know everything, they can use this, but personally, I'm going to have, if I ever have students, I'm going to have them use the ACS, because I know that's what made me comfortable and that's what helped me pass, what helped me learn personally. So following this, the chart supplement sectioned off in different areas of the U.S., and that's going to tell you everything about just airport charts, all the information that can be listed, things, airport name, land hold short operations, everything. These are very in-depth, very detailed. I've used these a couple times, probably not as much as I should. But they're, again, something you can get asked about, something you can get tested about, and not being able to know everything about this, like, for example, what all the symbology means, could screw you over if you're taking a check ride. So having this, and with that, I believe in our flight, the FAA sections it off, or the FAA folder has it sectioned off with the information regarding it, for the charts, or the airport diagram specifically. But again, all this information is always good to have. Following this, the Terminal Procedures Supplemental is going to tell you everything you need to know regarding standard instrument departures and terminal arrivals. And that also goes later in depth and tells you more about approaches as well, but we're getting there. Again, a lot of information. I'm just briefing over everything. I'm not going too in depth, but here's all the information. I'll show you everything, how it will look like for a low chart, for a high chart, for en routes as well. And with that, the IFR legend also tells us low charts, high charts, how everything will look over there. Aeronautical Chart User's Guide. Again, another thing that's going to help us with all the information regarding the IFR that we need to know. This tells us everything between all the definitions, all the different symbology, how everything works, how everything is calculated, how everything's going to look. And lastly, the procedures, the Instrument Approach Procedure Chart for the Standard Instrument Approach Procedures charts. That's going to tell you everything you know for this. Jeppesen and FAA both write their procedures, or their their approaches differently. So for that information, the FAA has their own charts users guide. The Jeppesen has their own charts users guide. So being able to know what you're using and what information is going to tell you exactly how it'll look is always critical. So my ending statement, just being able to know where to find everything. It's hard to know everything. I don't think anyone's going to be 100% perfect every single time. But that one moment where if you do have everything and you slip and you forget something, you always need to know where to find it. And with this, it tells us, again, regulations, publications related to IFR operations, all the resources that the PTS suggests for knowing everything regarding IFR, which is really good. So being able to have these just downloaded in your back pocket when you're getting tested, when you're asking questions, when you just want to know something, these are great resources to have. And that'll be it.